I can only go by what I've heard, that Spence is kind of did some damage to Crawford before when they sparring and stuff like that. That Spence is kind of did some damage to Crawford before when they sparring and stuff like that. A long time when he was sparring with Floyd. I just think that's gonna be harder for him to fight with a guy he's been in the ring with before. They both know each other. They both know what's going on.
You know, I tried to stay away. I tried to stay away from this, okay? And a lot of you show business partners are asking me, what do I think about this? Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford has sparred before, and Sugar Shane Mosley, one of my favorite fighters of all time, said that he heard that Errol Spence did some damage to Terrence Crawford.
I can only go by what I've heard, that Spence is kind of did some damage to Crawford before when they sparring and stuff like that.
Look, first of all, whatever happens in sparring stays in sparring, all right? But what I can say is this. It brings some light to what we heard from Kenny Porter when he said this.
Spence.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Spence is a much bigger fighter on fight night. And without getting into any details beyond that. I think his style is one that will lead him to the victory.
Yeah, I was thinking, what does that mean? Details. There's some details he know. Well, Kenny Porter, he's known them forever. He's known Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford since they were whippers.
I was working with him way before he ever fought Sean. Yeah. So, I've seen him do this for quite a few years since the amateurs.
And I can't imagine them two never sparring. I just can't imagine that they never sparred. And Kenny really knows Terrence Crawford. Like this story he brings of Terrence Crawford having beef with him.
Terrence was a hothead outside of the ring. So he used to get in trouble with other fighters. I mean, he would, if you bumped into Terrence, you didn't say, excuse me, you were just joking around with Terrence, he'd come after you. And we'd have to break Terrence up from situations like that.
And having like this quick fuse and them standing in the hallway about to square off.
I just happened to see him, he saw me, and we came right face to face. And I'm looking at this guy with both his fists balled up like this standing in front of me. And I look at him, I said, what's up? And he says to me, what's up? And then I thought to myself, I was like, nah, let this go, kid. Just let this go.
And then when you see how Terrence Crawford responded to Derek James, it's like, it makes sense.
Huh? I said, what's going on? You stupid motherfucker. I said, what's going on? I said, what's up? I said, what's going on?
What's up? I said, what's up?
All right. I said,
I think they think I'm a punk.
That's Terrence Crawford. So Kenny Porter knows him. And then when you hear about Errol Spence and just the legend of Errol Spence, what he's done in sparring to the likes of Floyd Mayweather.
What happened when you sparred with Floyd?
Basically, we were sparring, and I hit him with a good clean shot, and he got hurt.
They had to stop it.
Yeah.
Adrian Broner.
Just sparring. Stuff happened in sparring. A lot of people get rocked in sparring or something, or get dropped in sparring. It's sparring.
But to have a guy out on his feet with the big gloves and everything else, that's a hell of a punch.
Some people say I can punch, so, if you have power, you have power.
And then when you hear Adrian Broner discuss, why he think Errol Spence will win, a lot has to do with the sparring sessions. Like, he understands Errol. Check this out.
He know how to land his shots. He know how to time. His timing is good. He's good, bro. I'd have had wars with Earl last. Terrence is going to find out that he's going to have to fight Earl. It's not going to be no time for that much of boxing and trying to get out the way. He's going to have to fight.
And I know people say sparring is just sparring, but like Devin the American Dream Haney told me, you know, you get a lot of respect. It goes around who you are when you're amongst, you know, people like you, amongst other warriors, and y'all sparring for 30 rounds and all those things. This is the reason why Gervonta Tank Davis feels so confident fighting. He thinks he can beat Sugar Shakur. He thinks he can beat Devin the American Dream Haney because he's tussled with them for, look, remember Brian Norman Jr., he was talking about how he could beat Tank Davis, that he had a dog fight with him, right? And how you heard about him having a war with Terrence Crawford. So that's how you get your respect. You become a fighter man's fighter. And Errol Spence, you know, he's got that respect. You kind of know. And Errol Spence, when it comes to sparring, he is very humble about it. He's like, you know, things happen in sparring, you know what I mean? He doesn't really, and I think it's because he's so confident in it. He's got a lot of respect in sparring. So, you know, you ask yourself, if that's true, right? If all of this is true, why didn't Errol Spence bring up, you know, in a press conference, I whipped your ass in sparring? Well, the whole Floyd Mayweather thing, when Errol Spence bested Floyd in sparring, and the problem, bro, like that whole thing didn't come from Errol. People kept time and time again asking him about this. So Errol Spence can't help but to speak to it. He tried to avoid it for a long time. So that's one thing. Two, we don't know when this sparring happened. They could have been teenagers, and maybe they feel it's like not that relevant to speak about, or it's too relevant, right? It's kind of like, you know, I whipped your ass in sparring. Maybe it turns the 50-50 odds or whatever to 70-30 for Errol Spence. And people are like, oh, this is not the fight of the century. Don't forget, this fight is being billed as the fight of the century right now. You know, and that's huge. You know, Jim Jeffries versus Jack Johnson, that was the first fight of the century. Then you had Ali and Frazier, one fight of the century. You had Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, fight of the century. And that's what this is being billed as. So you don't want to say anything that could water this down. At the same time, we just don't know how true this is. But to be honest, I can see this being true. It actually is kind of hard. I never known them to spar, but it's kind of hard to me imagine them not sparring ever. That's hard for me, since, you know, Ugas and Terrence Crawford, they got a lot of, like, Ugas and Terrence Crawford fought in amateurs, right? I mean, Errol Spence just fought, like, there was a certain time when they were definitely around the same size. You know, Terrence Crawford, you know, he was a bigger dude, and he, you know, fought in you know, lower weight classes like as pro, and then he gradually moved up. But what I'm saying is, I could see them sparring a lot of times, even with Errol Spence being naturally bigger than Terrence Crawford. You do spar, you know, heavyweights sometimes, right? I saw Shakur Stevenson and Jared Anderson in sparring, right? Or, you know, you want to spar somebody smaller like Jared Anderson, Sugar Shakur, and you just, their movement, right? You want to get used to somebody being a quicker fighter, so you get a smaller guy. You know, you saw Errol Spence training with smaller guys to get prepared for Manny Pacquiao. So it's hard for me to see them never sparring. And I can see it being true. Errol Spence hurt people in sparring. He just damaged people. Forget sparring, he damaged people. So I would love to know what y'all think in the comments below. Did they meet before? Sugar Shane Mosley, who, that's my guy. Love you, boy. You know, did he just say, I mean, I heard it, man. He just spoke on it. You know what I mean? And you know, if it's true, does it change your thought on the result? Do you guys think it's true? Do you think, this is nothing to really feed into? I wasn't going to, but you guys kept asking me. So I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. ShowBizz, little dope. I'm out.